Stephen joins us now. Lovely to see you.
Hello, lovely to see you.
In real life, you are married to somebody behind the scenes at Call The Midwife.
I'm married to Heidi Thomas, yeah.
She's kind of like the boss, isn't she?
She's been a boss over me for years. No change there. But she's executive producer and writer of the series.
So when did you say to her, I'd quite like a part in this?
Oh, God, I wish I could. 25 years since I last worked with her. And it was brilliant. I mean, I'd given up hope about 15 years ago of ever working with her again. And it came along by accident. I was actually at university studying for science communication when I got the phone call about this. And they said, listen, there's this part of a doctor and we're having trouble with it, and you're long in the tooth, you've got loads of experience. As you're at university, it's not too big a part. Would you come along and consider reading for it? And I went, yeah, great.
Between lectures?
Between lectures. And the first series we did, I was actually at university when I did it. But then nobody knew what was going to happen to Call The Midwife, and it went crazy.
So it's taken off, and your role is...
And my role is there like everybody else's, and the rest is histrionics.
So what were you were studying for a PhD, weren't you?
I was studying for a master's degree.
Right.
I was going to go on to a PhD, but the small matter of Call The Midwife got in the way.
Yeah.
And a master's degree in science communication.
Science communication is everything where science meets the public. So it's Brian Cox documentaries, it's the science you might read in newspapers, it's the science your kids learn at school. It's a brilliant, big field, and one of them is medical communication.
So it must have fit brilliantly with this character you're playing in the world that you inhabit in Call The Midwife.
It was wonderful. So suddenly I'm playing a doctor on TV on this big series, and I'm naturally interested in that. And then last year they said to me, look, you're always going on about this thing about why you love all these medical issues and why you think they should be known through the programme. And so would you like to write a book on it? And I said, gosh, yes, please.
And this is the book, Dr. Turner's Casebook. And it's focused on, I mean, it's the beautiful pictures and from the era and from the series. Really nostalgic. Is it written as a diary of him in the series talking about cases?
Oh, yeah, it's a fantastic idea, because what they said to me was, look, why don't you go into the character of Dr. Turner? Why don't you go back over all the things our fans have loved about all the different cases that have happened over the years? Cases broad and narrow, the infectious diseases we might have covered, and also the wider issues of the poverty that's affected health, all the health issues in the early years of the NHS. Go back as Turner, tell us a bit more about his state of mind, how he thought about some of those big cases, all about some of the things in his life and his loves and his care, and then look at the background to some of these things. See, I mean, how some of these things came about, like in childbirth. As I investigated, for instance, things like incubators. Yeah. Incubators were invented in France, and they originally had baby chickens in. So they got the idea from the way you used to incubate chickens, and they thought, well, we could do this with babies. And then you go through the history of forceps, and forceps have this wonderful history, you know, where they were invented in France a few hundred years ago, and the people who invented them, the family who invented them, the story goes, were so keen to protect their commercial monopoly that they would chase everyone out of the room before they used them. And they say they would even blindfold the poor mums having the baby. And I thought to myself, look, the last thing on that poor woman's mind is industrial espionage.
Quite
so there's a lot of great background to these things, and I've been able to go into them.
Call The Midwife has hit the 60s, of course, and there's been lots of talk about how racy it's got, particularly lovely Helen George. Now, is that because she was, she got used to all that skimpiness on Strictly?
I think so.
Sequins.
I think she's quite... She said in the paper that, she said, oh, look, I'm quite embarrassed about this, because all the girls got down to their scanties, as they call them, in episode 1. And I think everybody got terribly excited because we've seen beautiful Helen for weeks on Strictly. And she said it was strange to wake up to the papers with me and my scanties on, and it was... No, I think we always stay the right side of decent.
Of course, yeah. Oh, well, it's absolutely terrific to see you. Do you want to give us any insights on what's going to happen to your character? Or do you know spoilers?
Insights to my character, I can't say very much. But he's there, and of course, anyone who's been following it this year, you know that there are some very serious cases, particularly an ongoing case of the great thalidomide affair. And my character will be, as a doctor, of course, involved at all stages in that, so keep watching.